Okay, d4. We may face a King's Indian defense. Yep, we are in the King's Indian defense. This is the Samish Steiner with bishop g5. It stops certain lines. This is playable, knight h3. As soon as this knight covers the diagonal of the bishop, I can start to activate this knight. Opponent challenges the center with c5, makes sense. I look it up because my king is in the middle of the board. You don't want an open center with the king in the middle of the board, right? That's why. And you gain space too, so that's good. Okay, a6. I'm gonna remaneuver the knight first. Because b5 is not an immediate threat. I control that sufficiently with my knight and the pawn. Okay, queen b6. This feels wrong. I mean, you usually don't do that. You usually go queen a5, not b6. But let me think. So this is an idea. This is an idea. Looks somewhat decent. Because I may later on do something like that. Not immediately, it's kind of dangerous, but maybe later on I can do something like that. But there's also another move, which is this. Gets everything defended. Probably this is the best, if I were to guess. But I'll first do that. Get everything defended. And then go there, and then continue developing. Maybe there. Okay, go back. Pawn attack the bishop, I just go back. Okay, g5. This doesn't feel right, because you don't want to be the one playing on the king side here, unless I make some mistakes. You usually seek your chances, usually through a6, b5, coupled with queen a5 and so on. Whereas I seek my chances on the king side somehow. So that kind of helps me, because once you push the g-pawn, notice I can use my pawn as a hook, and I'll be undermining your king side with a lot of piece activity and hopefully an easy game. Like, not all the time, but whenever you see pawn structures like that and yours is not, like your king seems to be more or less safe, it makes sense to push the rook pawn up to challenge the pawn structure and potentially undermine it. When I go live for the first time. Okay, knight goes back. If I trade knight takes, I take pawn takes. Seems alright, let's just take. Again, one idea later on might be relevant in case this rook over here gets undefended ever. Another thing, normally I don't think you would want to give up the bishop here, but that opens up the h file, right? That looks a tad bit interesting. Another one is this. That also looks... You know what, I'm gonna go for this one. Because now I'm hitting this twice. If this, then I have that. You also mentioned f4. Oh, you're Alessandro 1994. You're the guy that cheated against me before. How many accounts do you have, man? This is so foul. I remember this username. You played against me like long ago. And I'm like, this 300, how does he play like that? And again, it was some case. I'll check that profile out. You cheated against me with yet another profile. This is just like another level level of cheating. Oh my god. Seriously. Okay, yeah. I take pawn is a gunner as well. It's pinned, and also now it's triple attacked. Right? There's nothing to do here as black. It's just lost. Okay, doesn't matter. I can just take. I take, you take there, I take there, you take there. I just go back with the bishop, hit your queen. Queen has to move, and then I'll have discoveries with my knight. Knight somewhere doesn't matter much. Anything is winning. I don't have to think much. While typing in chat. I guess he doesn't have the time to check out his engine. as he's playing bullet. Okay, that doesn't matter. I can just take and then go back. Queen is hit, and discoveries are still all over the place. Gotta be very careful where to place the queen now. Okay, thank you. That just picks up the queen with a discovery. Good game. Let's quickly analyze it. I assume it's going to be a very high accuracy game by me because opponent didn't really play the main ideas of the structure. Like it was pretty, let's say, offbeat. Again, it's not like you played badly. It's just, you know, you didn't sort of come up with threats enough. Here is the game. Yeah, as I thought, 98% accuracy, because it was just like, for me, it was just like structural ideas. I didn't do anything crazy. Why not take with the bishop? I don't know what you are talking about, but let me show you. So this is the King's Indian Samish Steiner. The reason I play that is, okay, it's, you know, it's one of the sort of like alternatives to play against the King's Indian setup. And also it's one of the lines, including some other bishop g5 lines such as the semi-averba, where black cannot really play e5. Because if black continues strikes with e5, is the case with some other King's Indian setups such as the orthodox or the standard development. If you do that, you take, pawn takes back, trade the queens, rook takes, and then go knight d5. Knight is pinned because the rook is over there, undefended. And you also threaten knight c7 to get this rook. So this is just good for white. That's why you can't strike with e5. It's a bad continuation. Opponent goes knight b d7. Whenever you see that, you can just develop this knight. Normally it wouldn't be possible because bishop can just take the knight and ruin your pawn structure. But after knight b d7, you go knight h3. Other moves, again, exist. Not the only move, but that's what I play. c5 challenges my center. I block it up. Why is that? Because my king is in the middle of the board, right? You want a close center in a case like this because black's king is safe. Mine wouldn't be safe if it was open. So a6. Usually the idea with this one is to prepare b5. But you betrayed the idea with queen b6. Which really didn't challenge my my plan, right? I just go rook b1, which is not the best move. I could tell that because, you know, honestly, I don't ever remember playing something like this in a similar variation. Anyhow, rook b1, h6. Notice this does kick the bishop, but you create a target for me, right? This does create a target on h6 for me. I just go back, and now this is a target because I can go queen d2 to pressure the pawn later on. Sophisticated says, if you never push the g5 pawn, how would you typically infiltrate that king side? Good point. I'll talk about this after the analysis. Usually I would say, if that's not the case, I would go queen d2, develop the bishop nicely and short castle without pushing any of the pawns. Unless opponent goes and tries to pull this trick of knight e5 to knight g4, that kind of a thing. Then you might go like bishop e2 and f4. So say, instead of going g5, black played knight e5. I would go bishop e2 simply. What does that do? It prepares f4 in certain cases. Imagine sometimes black like is unaware of the threats, and they just go like, okay, my light square bishop is not developed, my rooks are disconnected, so I'll just go bishop d7 to have the rooks connected. That runs into f4, for instance, as far as I can tell. Wait, not immediate f4. First defend g4 because, you know, you don't want the knight to run away. First you go h3 to take away g4 and then go f4. Sometimes they are, again, they don't know what you are trying to do. They make like a slow move, like, I don't know, centralize the rooks or something, and then you go f4 and the knight is trapped. So this is more or less what I would do. I would go bishop e2 and short castles. There are still some potential tricks. And then, other than that, I might also consider like a3, b4 to expand on the queen side also. Yeah, a lot of different ideas. Yeah, opponent goes g5, I go h4. You making use of it as a hook. Trade, and then go knight g4. Why? Because I'm hitting h6 twice. King h7, before the line even appeared, I thought of the move because it seems like a natural idea in trying to defend the pawn, but it runs into bishop takes g5. Apparently the best move was knight takes h6, but who cares, it's the same thing. If bishop takes, this bishop gets pinned, so it's the same thing. But I didn't think of it because it seemed clear enough. Takes, queen a5 doesn't matter. I take with the knight, and now have millions of discoveries. Bishop takes doesn't work. So let's see what Ignit Tristan say about it. Said about it. Let's see. You thought you would activate the queen, but the pawn defending the knight is pinned. Wait, you said why not take with the bishop? So you block and discover check and agree. Oh, you mean this one? Sorry. Why not take with the okay, bishop takes h6 is what you asked. Okay, well, I could have done that. I think it's just fine. Same thing, more or less the best move. No big difference, alright? Like, I took with the knight because, I don't know, just felt like it. no crazy reason. Both of them work very well. Alright? Takes, and in this case, take, go back, hit the queen. Again, you might have had a better way to defend, or for some time it's gonna be lost anyway, but that just wins the queen and that's the game. Alright, that's gonna be it. Any questions about it? If black sets up that defense with the bishop and knight, will the more novice player as white be better to castle queenside? So here's the thing. Usually, I don't know what structure you are exactly talking about. Queenside makes sense. Like in certain variations, yes, you do castle queenside and start a kingside attack. In this case, I preferred. Notice after knight bd7, you have another way to play. Because if you were to go like, I don't know, what would you want to play if not knight h3? Say you go like knight ge2, right? The thing that I was worried about is like c5 would come, and then we go like d5, and then they would do like a6, b5. Or maybe even queen a5. So a6, which is the best move as you see. And then what do? You most likely want to stop b5. And then in this line, as you see, my bishop is locked. And how am I going to castle? If I castle long, it's also kind of risky because it can get blown apart, right? b5 is like lurking in the air. And queen a5 is kind of fast. So it's kind of like counterintuitive to do that. It's riskier. Why would you castle into that evil bishop? Sometimes, if you have enough momentum, you can go g4, h4, h5, and then get the bishops traded off with bishop h6. Like one line. Let me try to get a line. Usually they go c5, for instance. You go d5, and then what do you do? Like let's say they go e6, you go queen d2, preparing bishop h6. If they take c takes back a6, they prepare to push b5, as in the case with a lot of Benoni structures, a lot of King's Indian defense structures, right? You go a4 to stop b5, otherwise this is so risky, right? You don't want to allow that queenside expansion potential like with b4, kicking your knight and so on. Well, after a4, I don't know, let's say they do h6, this is one of the lines. You cannot take that pawn because of discoveries, like let's say h6 takes, they can do knight takes e4. If you take that, queen h4 picks up your, with check picks up your bishop. So you would have to go back to e3, if they played perfectly, right? You go back bishop e3, and then say they do like knight d7, right? Some bad move. I think even in this case, you probably want to go like knight h3, knight f2, and then sort of transpose into the lines that I showed. But let's see if black doesn't play it perfectly. Say black, instead of challenging the center, they do like something like c6, you go queen d2, they do like b6. In a case like this, it makes perfect sense to go like g4, and then h4, see like this is the best move. And notice, since they didn't challenge your center immediately, and since the also diagonal is also closed, you're gonna go h4, bishop h6, get the bishops traded off, h5, or like first h4, h5, oops, h4, h5, bishop h6, get the bishops traded off, and then take on g6 with the pawn, open up the discovery against h7 with the queen rook battery. And yes, this knight is gonna be protecting it, but then you can go like e4, e5 sometimes, hitting the knight, sometimes allowing knight e4, sometimes allowing bishop d3, or on an open diagonal. A lot of different ideas. Again, it's about how well black plays it too. Say they just fianchetto the bishop, like they just don't have any plans, right? You can go h4 or long castle. I don't know. Say they go like knight d7. You know, they just play random moves. h5, and then they go like I don't know d5. They try to strike in the middle now, very late. But now you can take, for instance, takes, pawn takes back, maybe e5, tickle the knight, knight goes back, and then bishop h6. See, like, you know, there are ways. If they were to take, checkmate is unstoppable. Again, they are not going to play like this. Advanced players are not going to play that badly. But since you asked, sometimes they play slowly on the queen side, not challenging your center, not challenging your queen side. They don't seek their own chances, which could allow you to, you know, execute a king side attack, if that makes sense.